Good day. I am Villagracia, and our topic for today is all about computer, the hardware and software. Before we begin for our topic, I will show you some video that will enhance your idea.
Computers are all around us. From laptop computers to smartphones to smartwatches, they're changing the way that we live our lives. But have you ever asked yourself, what exactly is a computer? A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. The computer sees data as ones and zeros, but it knows how to combine them into much more complex things, such as a photo, movie, website, game, and much more. Computers use a combination of hardware and software. Hardware is any physical part of the computer, which includes the internal components and the external parts like the monitor and keyboard. Software is any set of instructions that tells the hardware what to do, such as a web browser, media player, or word processor. When most people say computer, they're talking about a personal computer. This can be a desktop computer or a laptop, which has basically the same capabilities, but in a more portable package. Personal computers come in a few different styles. The most common type uses the Windows operating system. Macs or Macintosh computers feature the Mac OS operating system, while Chromebooks run on Chrome OS. Smartphones and other mobile devices mostly use the iOS or Android operating systems. We'll talk more about operating systems in a later video. Computers come in many other shapes and sizes. TVs, game consoles, and even appliances like refrigerators can have built-in computers, although they may not do everything a desktop or a laptop can. There's another type of computer that plays an important role in our lives: servers. A server sends information to other computers on a network. In fact, every time you use the internet, web servers deliver the web pages that you want to see to your computer. Servers are also used in many offices to store and share files. As you can see, there are many types of computers out there, and each one plays a part in our modern world.
Before we talk about different types of computers, let's talk about two things all computers have in common: the hardware and software. Hardware against software. Hardware is any part of your computer that has a physical structure, such as the keyboard or mouse. It also includes all of the computer's internal parts, which you can see in the image below. Software is any set of instructions that tells the hardware what to do and how to do it. Example of software include web browsers, games, and word processors. Types of computer. And now, let's talk about hardware and types of hardware. Let's talk about software types of software and examples.
Hardware and software, two terms you've probably heard of at one point or another. The odds are high that you use both on a daily basis, whether it's with your smartphone or personal computer. Let's take a deeper look at what these two things are and why they're important. Hardware is any element of a computer that's physical. This includes things like monitors, keyboards, and also the insides of devices like microchips and hard drives. Software is anything that tells hardware what to do and how to do it, including computer programs and apps on your phone. So video games, photo editors, and web browsers are just a few examples. Hardware and software are very different from each other, but they also need one another in order to function. Let's look at an example of this using a smartphone. In this case, the hardware would be the physical phone itself, and the software would be its operating system and its apps. If we were to take away the software, we would just have a dead phone in our hands. It wouldn't be able to make calls, text, or go online because it's not receiving any kind of instructions. On the other hand, let's say we have no hardware, meaning there's no actual phone. If all we have are the programs, we just have a bunch of instructions, but nothing to give those instructions to. So the big picture here is that hardware needs software to tell it what to do, but software also needs hardware in order to act out its directions. Technology will continue to evolve, and though we may not be sure of how things will look in, say, 100 years, this combination of hardware and software will be there, serving as its foundation.
Software. Software is commonly known as programs or apps, consist of all the instructions that tell the hardware how to perform a task. These instructions come from a software developer in the form that will be accepted by the platform, operating system plus CPU, that they are based on. For example, a program that is designed for the Windows operating system will only work for that specific operating system. Compatibility of software will vary as the design of the software and the operating system differ. Software that is designed for Windows XP may experience a compatibility issue when running under Windows 2000 or NT. Software is capable of performing many tasks as opposed to hardware, which can only perform mechanical tasks that they are designed for. Software provides the means for accomplishing many different tasks with the same basic hardware. Practical computer systems divide software systems into two major classes. System software helps run the computer hardware and computer system itself. System software includes operating systems, device drivers, diagnostic tools, and more. System software is almost free installed on your computer. Application software allows users to accomplish one or more tasks. It includes word processing, web browsing, and almost any other task for which you might install software. Some application software is pre-installed on most computer systems. Software is generally created or written in a high-level programming language. One of that is more or less readable by people. These high-level instructions are converted into machine language instructions represented in binary code. Before the hardware can run the code, when you install software, it is generally already in the machine language, binary form. Hardware refers to the physical elements of a computer. This is also sometimes called the machinery or the equipment of the computer. Examples of hardware in a computer are the keyboard, the monitor, and the mouse, and the central processing unit. However, most of a computer's hardware cannot be seen. In other words, it is not an internal element of the computer, but rather an internal one surrounded by the computer's casing or tower. A computer's hardware is comprised of many different parts, but perhaps the most important of this is the motherboard. The motherboard is made up of even parts that power and control the computer. In contrast to the software, hardware is a physical entity. Hardware and software are interconnected. Without software, the hardware of a computer would have no function. However, without the creation of hardware to perform tasks directed by software via the central processing unit, software would be useless. Hardware is limited to specifically designed tasks that are taken independently, very simple. Software implements algorithms or problem solutions that allow the computer to complete much more complex tasks. Software, commonly known as programs or apps, consists of all the instructions that tell the hardware how to perform a task. These instructions come from a software developer in the form that will be accepted by the platform or operating system plus CPU that they are based on. For example, a program that is designed for the Windows operating system will only work for that specific operating system. Compatibility of software will vary as the design of the software and the operating system differ. Software that is designed from Windows XP may experience a compatibility issue. Software is capable of performing many tasks as opposed to hardware which can only perform mechanical tasks that they are designed for. Software provides the means for accomplishing many different tasks with the same basic hardware. Practical computer system. What is a computer? A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. It has the ability to store, retrieve, and process data. You may already know that you can use a computer to type documents, send email, play games, and browse the web. You can also use it to edit or create spreadsheets, presentations, and even videos. What are the different types of computers? When most people hear the word computer, they think of a personal computer such as a desktop or laptop. However, computers come in many shapes and sizes, and they perform many different functions in our daily lives. When you withdraw cash from an ATM, scan groceries at the stores, or use a calculator, you're using a computer. Many people use desktop computers at home. work at home, and school. Desktop computers are designed to be placed on a desk, and they're typically made of a few different parts, including the computer case, monitor, keyboard, and mouse. The second type of computer you may be familiar with is a laptop computer. Commonly called a laptop. Laptops are battery-powered computers that are more portable than desktops, allowing you to use them almost anywhere. Tablet computers or tablets are handheld computers that are even more portable than laptops. Instead of a keyboard and mouse, tablets use a touch-sensitive screen for typing and navigation. The iPad is an example of a tablet. A server is a computer that serves up information to other computers on a network. For example, whenever you use the internet, you're looking at something that's stored on a server. Many businesses also use local file servers to store and share files internally. Computer hardware is the physical components that a computer system requires to function. It encompasses everything with a circuit board that operates with a PC or laptop, including the motherboard, graphics card, CPU, or what we call this the central processing unit, ventilation fans, webcam, power supply, and so on. The motherboard is at the center of what makes a PC work. It houses the CPU and it is hub that all other hardware runs through. The motherboard acts as a brain, allocating power where it's needed, communicating with and coordinating across all other components, making it one of the most important pieces of hardware in a computer. The CPU or central processing unit or processor. It is responsible for processing all the information from programs by your computer. This means that a processor advertising a high GSZ rating will likely perform faster than a similarly specified processor of the same brand and age. Random access memory or RAM is hardware found in the memory slots of the motherboard. The role of RAM is to temporarily store on the fly information created by programs and to do so in a way that makes this data immediately accessible. The tasks that require random memory could be rendering images for graphic design, edited video, or photographs. The hardware drive or the hard drive is a storage device responsible for storing permanent and temporary data. This data comes in many different forms, but is essentially anything served or installed to a computer. For example, computer programs, family photos, operating system, word processing documents, and so on. What is graphic processing unit, or what we call the GPU? Especially important for 3D rendering, the GPU does exactly what it's mean. Name suggests and processes huge batches of graphic data. You will find that your computer's graphic card has at least one GPU. This also means you can upgrade your graphics card if you want to get a bit more performance from your PC. What is a power supply unit, or what we call the acronym PSU? A power supply unit, commonly abbreviated as PSU, does more than just supply your computer with power. It is the point where power enters your system from an internal power source and is then allocated by the motherboard to individual component hardware. And let's talk about software. Software is a set of instructions, data, or programs used to operate computers and execute specific tasks. It is the opposite of hardware, which describes the physical aspect of a computer. Software is a generic term used to refer to application scripts and programs that run on a device. It can be thought of as the variable part of a computer, while hardware is the invariable part. Example: types of software. Application software. The most common type of application software, is a computer software package that performs a specific function for a user, or in some cases, for another application. Example of modern applications include office suites, graphic software, databases, and database management programs, web browsers, word processors, software development tools, image editors, and communication platforms. System software. These software programs are designed to run a computer's applications, programs, and hardware. System software coordinates the activities and function of the hardware and software. Example of system software includes the firmware, computer language, translator, and system utilities. Driver software, also known as device drivers. This software is often concurrent task. Examples include software that comes with any non-standard hardware, including special game controllers, as well as the software that enables standard hardware such as USB storage devices, keyboards, headphones, and printers. Middleware. The term middleware describes software that mediates between application and system software, or between two different kinds of application software. Example: middleware enables Microsoft Windows to talk to Excel and Word. It is also used to send a remote work request from an application. In a computer that has one kind of OS to an application in a computer with a different OS It also enables newer applications to work with legacy ones. Programming software. Computer programmers use programming software to write code. Programming software and programming tools enable developers to develop, write, test, and debug other software programs. Example of programming software includes assemblers, compilers, debuggers, and interpreters. What I've learned that computer help us do with studying, especially right now of the pandemic, and computers one of the gadgets that help us research what we want to learn and a way to communicate without going outside because of the pandemic. Based on what I have learned, computer is an electronic device or machine which retrieve, store, processes, and manipulate data. It has uses, especially the internet, that in these days is a part of our lives. We also have tackled the history of the computer. These are the parts of this and its uses. I have learned more things about computer and it helps me a lot. I have learned about Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and PowerPoint, which is my favorite. In Microsoft Word, I do all my assignments in PowerPoint. I use it in my project. The Microsoft Excel is I don't use a lot because it is used in business and others. But for me, Microsoft Word is very useful. In the internet, I learned about the search engine, like the best example of it's the Google. It is called pure search engine. It also helped me a lot in doing my assignments and project too, because I get the important information that I needed. I also enjoy my knowledge that I've learned in social networking like Facebook, where I can post my picture. I can have more friends and I can communicate to my other relatives in other places. We make our own blog that we post our poem, essay, and other articles that are our own. Because of our computer education, I discovered the website called YouTube. That is my favorite because through this I can hear my favorite song and I can watch videos that I want. So, as the sum of all my explanation of my topic and as my recap, I have learned a lot of this topic of computers and many more to accomplish, like put the fingers on computer and playing games. So most probably majority of us had experience playing computer, or what is computer was so useful.